Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conference and our presentation. My name is Shirin, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Score Guides Academy. I've been a teacher for, wow, I think 16 years. I've been teaching English in many different settings and countries. I've been teaching students from many different backgrounds and abilities and ages, including students with special educational needs. Now, I'm going to ask my colleague to please introduce herself.
Thank you, Shirin. Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Bertucci, and I'm also here at the conference with Score Guides as a facilitator in the TELSN program. So I've also been teaching a long time. I think I'm going on 20 years this year, so a lot of time. And I have also taught students with diverse needs. So I'm happy to be here to share about the TELSN program with you today. And we want to begin today with land acknowledgement. So as we begin, we want to be mindful of where we are and express our gratitude for our presence here. And we acknowledge that Douglas College is on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, and those here in New West include the Katzie, the Kwantlen, the Coquitlam, and the Kakite First Nations. And you may have seen out in the concourse this Douglas College coat of arms. So if you look up, you'll see it there, created by the Cheem First Nation artist, Carrie Lynn Victor. So we can raise our hands and in gratitude and say, Haichika, thank you. And I'm going to pass it back to Shirin now, and we're going to get into our presentation about TELSN. And welcome.
Thank you. So as you see, our presentation is in two parts. Now I'll be presenting the first part. I'll speak about our course, why we designed it, the philosophy behind it, so more behind the scenes. And then my colleague will actually take you inside the course, and you get to see how it looks and how it works. So before I start presenting, let me ask everyone's idea. So let's imagine if you were developing a course on inclusive ESL teaching. If you were doing that, what components would you include in that course? We're very much interested in knowing this, so I would very much appreciate if you would take out your phones and scan this code, which takes you to Mentimeter. And there you see you can share 1, 2, or 3 keywords or phrases. So again, if you were designing a course on inclusive ESL teaching, what key components would you include in that course?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Nice to see you.
There are support sheets on, I hope, most of your desks. So the first page is related to my presentation, and you can find the code there as well.
Here you are.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, come on in.
I see a lot of interesting ideas coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome, new people. What we're doing is asking everyone's idea as response to this question. If you were designing a course on inclusive ESL teaching, what key components would you include in that course? So You can scan the code, which takes you to Mentimeter, and there you can share 1, 2, or 3
You're welcome.
keywords or short phrases, showing the components you think are absolutely essential to that course. All right, thanks everybody. Since we don't have much time, I have to stop at this moment and then we will get back. Let's take a moment and see this beautiful word cloud. So it seems these are what everyone's concerned about. Of course, accessibility, cultural awareness, I see interactivity, UDL, community practice, open-mindedness, different styles, and clear language, of course, learner-centeredness. What is interesting is, as you will see, when we were conceiving of the course and designing it, implementing it now, we had very similar concerns to these. So thank you very much for the participation. Now, let us begin. So in my part of the presentation, I will speak about the course, describe its structure, philosophy behind it, modes of delivery. I will speak about the pedagogical and design frameworks behind it, and walk you through accreditation process. At the end, I will speak about how it contributes to our community and how we welcome collaboration from other teachers. So what is TELSN? It stands for Teaching English Learners with Special Needs. Now, when we were thinking of developing this course, we realized there seems to be a critical gap in our Canadian context. The gap being that TESOL training often focuses on language, but not adequately on learner diversity and inclusion. So we had that gap in mind, and we try to bridge that gap through this program, which is a 60-hour TESOL Canada approved specialization that is designed to prepare teachers to work effectively with language learners with many different needs in inclusive settings. The interesting things about the course, first, it is one of a kind in our Canadian system. It is completely online, mostly asynchronous, as you will see. Although it is asynchronous, there is support with supervisors through live sessions and, of course, feedback. We designed it for immediate classroom transfer. We didn't just want to bombard our students with theory. And, of course, all the time we had our Canadian inclusive frameworks in mind. More specifically, it supports immediate classroom application. As we said, we wanted to provide our teachers with a toolkit, not just theory. We also focus on long-term professional growth. As you will see, one of our modules just focused on that. We hope to increase awareness of the diversity in our learner community and hopefully contribute to responsive and ethical teaching. These are the audience for TELSN. There could be any ESL or EFL teacher, whether novice or experienced. It has application in K-12 settings, where mostly when we have multilingual learners. Also, the theories and the strategies our learners learn can be transferred to link settings, so adult and settlement, and any tutor or training professional who's interested in an ethical and inclusive teaching of English. Now, the general structure of the course moves like this. First, we try to raise awareness in our student teachers regarding the different needs and different characteristics of our students. Then we want to teach them how to engage in inclusive lesson planning. Then practice, that is, they learn how to teach the main language systems and the sub skills. Some courses stop at this point, what we move on. So we provided reflection. We think without reflection, one doesn't really know what one's doing. So we have assessment and behavior support. And at the end, we also speak to their professional growth, because we want to have sustainability even after the course. We chose this delivery model. So it is a blended online model. Mostly, you would say about 70% asynchronous, but it has asynchronous component to it. Now, that synchronous component involves 3 live sessions with designated instructors. Why did we do that? It was because, well, we had these 2 competing concerns in mind. There's always a trade-off between these 2. On the one hand, our students, many of them are already very busy teachers, so they need flexibility. They need to learn on their own time and at their own pace. So we wanted to speak to that. At the same time, we didn't want to leave them to their own devices, so we wanted to provide support as well, trying to strike a balance between the 2. Now, we had 3 main philosophies behind the design implementation of the course. The first philosophy was that inclusive teaching is central to all teaching contexts. Some teachers might assume, okay, I'm not a special educator. There's a chance I may never meet a student with a specific, different needs. That is not true. We believe, if we believe in inclusion, then in any setting is an inclusive setting. Second, this one is related to the gap I mentioned. The language teaching and learner needs cannot be separated. So far they have been, and we try to remedy that. And finally, that inclusive TESOL is not an option in Canada, it is the expected practice. So maybe it was time for us to develop a course that had these ideas in mind. Any course, when you look at it, may seem to have one external layer, and that is language pedagogy. However, this course also has 2 other layers behind them. The one layer behind the facade is inclusive special education. I will speak to that. And there is the other hidden behind the curtain one, that is instructional design. So let me walk you through these 3 very briefly. As for the first layer, language pedagogy, the course is organized around 4 pillars. First, syllabus design, more specifically inclusive syllabus design. Then instruction, so what teachers actually get to do in classroom. Again, one weakness with some courses was that they didn't speak to inclusive and learner-aware and centered assessment, but we try to provide that as well. And at the end, help them with their professional growth to ensure sustainability even after the course is over. More specifically, these 2 paradigms of teaching and philosophies guided us. First, constructivism. So we wanted our students to construct meaning for themselves and in this process gain their own voice. Second, experiential learning. We believe our students should actually, as they say, get their hands dirty and try to practice as they learn, which, as my colleague will explain, that explains the kind of tasks and projects that we have. The second layer, I'm sorry, I'm running. I don't have much time. The second layer behind pedagogy was inclusive special education. These were the principles we emphasized. For example, differentiated instruction. Imagine a class with 25 students and then 5 students with very different needs. The teacher needs to be able to differentiate their instruction to cater to everyone's needs. Scaffolding, we're all familiar with that. And adaptation, sometimes you cannot develop a new syllabus, but you should be able to adapt the existing one to the needs of your learners. We talk about emotional and behavior support, and behind all of that, we hope we can help our learners, our student teachers recognize variability in our learners. We drew these concepts and principles mostly from these 3 paradigms. UDL, that's Universal Design for Learning, multi-tiered system of supports conjoined with response to intervention frameworks, and of course, IEP-aligned planning. So by combining these 3 roles, we hope we now provide practical TESOL strategies like a toolkit for our students. Now, one might ask, okay, you claim to have developed a course that teaches inclusive teaching, but is your course inclusive itself? We are happy to say yes, because we had this idea in mind. So we want our course to teach inclusion by being inclusive. We don't just want to preach, we want to practice. So We give our students several options. For instance, we learned from UDL that students need multiple means of representation. So as my colleague will present to you, our course has textual, but it also has videos and podcasts to cater to everyone's different learning styles. We also have multiple means of engagement to sustain their motivation and interest. So we have many different tasks, reflection, and discussion board. Also, we provide them with multiple means of expressing that they have actually learned. So they have projects, quizzes, and we recently added an optional capstone project at the end. So we try to be inclusive ourselves. And the last layer is instructional design. We followed certain instructional design principles. As you see, logical sequencing of our 6 interrelated modules. These modules move on based on progressive complexity and level of difficulty. We present many different opportunities for our students to repeatedly apply the concepts that they learn, so to ensure retention. And more specifically, we followed the ADDIE cycle. These two were our core references. So I'm speaking about the first section of the first stage of the ADDIE cycle, that would be analysis. So we used a hybrid model. So we moved bottom up and top down. These are the sources. As for the bottom up line or route, we used many studies that had focused on surveys and the actual experience of teachers and some students with ADHD specifically. I can also talk a little bit about the accreditation process. So as I said, we are accredited with TESL Canada. This is what happened when we presented the course to them first. They provided feedback on the structure of the course, on the clarity of assessment, whether it was aligned with all TESL Canada standards, and they wanted us to strengthen the practical application. In response to that, we provided better alignment between different sections of the course. We improved the rubric to improve the assessment, and we provided alignment with the standards and spoke to organization and clarity. Now, this could be enough, and we would say, okay, let good enough be enough, and then move on. So we had our approval. However, perfectionists as we are, we get together every year in our annual enhancement sessions. And recently, after a year of running this course, we realized we want to add a component and improve it furthermore. So we added a capstone project, which my colleague will introduce to you. Okay, that's it for my part for now. Whoa, I made it. All right, so far I've spoken about behind the scenes and philosophy. Now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague who will actually take you to the course and you will see what the students experience. So any questions so far? Okay, thank you very much. Mary,
Thank
please.
you. All right, Shirin. Wow. So I think everybody can feel, not just how much content and, planning went into this, but also the intention behind it. So thank you, Shirin, for doing such a great job of explaining all those components. And my job is now kind of the fun one. So I get to take you into TELSN, and we're going to do a little activity where we look at a scenario. So something that a teacher coming into the program would be doing. So looking at a teacher situation with an activity and some learners with differences. And then how do we support those students? So that's what I'm going to start with today. All right, so we're going to do some imagining, and in front of you, everyone should have a handout here. So if you turn to part 2 on the back, we've got our scenario for discussion, so you're welcome to follow along here. I'll also read it out loud so you can follow me. So let's go. In a beginner level in-person ESL class, the teacher begins a listening activity with the goal of helping students understand a phone call to book a doctor's appointment. Okay, so very common, activity for, let's say, a link class. She plays a 45-second audio clip from a textbook CD, instructs students to listen and circle the correct time, and plays the recording once without visuals or warm-up. And we have some students in the class with learning differences. Amir has ADHD, and Zoe has an auditory processing difference. So this could mean for her she needs more time to hear and interpret and understand information. So my question to start, what are some problems you can anticipate with this lesson? Does anybody want to share? Maybe some of us experienced instructors can think of a few things right off the bat. You can call it out if you like. What are some issues?
They probably want to listen to it more than once.
Absolutely.
Miss information the first
Yeah.
time.
So missing information, one 45-second clip one time for a beginner level, that's going to be quite challenging. Yeah.
To approach, there is no preparation,
Mm-hmm.
no vocabulary, so they don't know what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah, you're a beginner student and someone just says, listen to this and circle this. And they're looking at you like, what's happening? So yeah, exactly. Anything else?
Might get nervous as well.
Of course. Yeah. Very nervous. Yes.
Yeah, I think the feeling of not being included because it's not possible for you. So
Yeah, exactly. So Amir and Zoe, some extra anxiety there, probably creeping in. Sure.
loss
Yeah.
of motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Loss of
Physical
motivation.
falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
For Amir, I'm just thinking for my kid who has ADHD, would
Mm.
we want to cut the listening? Would we want to stop at like 20 seconds?
It's a great
And,
idea.
like, just check in with them
Yeah.
and then continue?
Exactly.
Does that sound
So we're
good?
going to talk about that and what we can do to change this scenario because I think we can feel it's not going to go that well. Yes.
No warm up, no context, so confusion.
Mm-hmm. A lot of confusion. Exactly. So let's think now, how do students respond? So in this scenario, a few students might complete the task. Maybe if you've got a higher level beginner and they can figure it out, they can circle an answer. A lot of others are going to struggle with that. And then 2 of the students will likely become disengaged pretty fast. So Amir, who has ADHD, he ends up starting the task, but halfway through he starts playing with his pencil case and he gets a bit distracted. He misses the key time in the conversation, so he doesn't complete the worksheet. How about Zoe? So she's got the auditory processing difference and she's trying to keep up, but she becomes very overwhelmed. And then she freezes and she can't decide what to write down on her sheet. And how do they feel? So in this situation, frustrated, we already said a few of the feelings, they might be experiencing, embarrassed because they can't complete a task like their other students, withdrawn even, maybe starting to go into themselves, isolated, overwhelmed, and even helpless because they don't have a say in how this is going, so what can they do? What we're going to do just for a couple of minutes is try to think of how we could facilitate better outcomes for this activity. And I think we've already been thinking of some ideas. So we are going to look at 2 questions, which are also on this handout. So underneath the scenario, what inclusive strategies and modifications could you make to support Amir and Zoe? We already had a good suggestion about breaking the time down into smaller pieces. And also, how would these changes help them achieve the lesson goal? So we have some options. This is one. You can scan the QR code to write on Mentimeter. But to be inclusive, we want to have some different options. You may write your idea on a cue card. So if you feel like writing today, we have cue cards. You can write and hand it in to me. You can also discuss your ideas with someone near you. So that's another choice if you're feeling like connecting, being social, or you can scan the QR code and type your ideas. So it's up to you. We've got 2 minutes, so go ahead and think of some ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Okay.
I like talking.
And I'm going to launch that, so it is good to go. Okay, so it's up. That's good. And now they're talking. We're gonna make it. Are we gonna make it? Okay, we're gonna make it. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna make it. That's great. I'll just wander, maybe wander, and see how people are doing.
So, like seeing, maybe someone's really good and piece. Set the scene. And then the instructor will have to explain that. And I mean, what about the volume? Yeah, for Zoe.
Yeah. And and also the, yeah, so I was changing some things.
Good discussion.
Yeah, very good idea.
It's hard to stop them. They're doing so much chat. Okay, and I'll see if anybody did. Oh, great. We've got 2 responses here.
Oh, great.
Awesome. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful discussion. I know we could talk for a really long time because there's a lot of great ideas. So I'm going to read a couple that we got from the Mentimeter. So we could have a pre-listening activity to generate interest and have them practice some vocabulary. We could also pre-teach vocabulary. I heard that a lot. Provide a visual support, so like a schedule, clock images, model the task, play the audio multiple times, of course, yeah, with clear listening purposes. Does anyone else have something they thought of, would like to share? Yeah.
Allow pair work discussion before checking.
Good. Pair work discussion. Exactly. Pair work discussion before checking. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Any other?
As a teacher assistant, I think just to give the assistant some more time with the different type of student to explain it and what's going on, because I believe it's better to comprehend what they want to do than rush to the result.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
time and repeat all the time.
And these are beginners, right? So we want to set them up for success, and this does not do that very well. So I know there are a lot of great ideas. We have a few suggestions. So in the TELSN program, we have a lot of scenarios, and then we give some ideas about how we could make this activity better. What could we do? So something we could start with is just using UDL, because this is going to set it up better in that first tier of the multi-tiered system of supports for all learners. So this is really important. So first of all, just giving them a clear goal. What are we doing today? You know, what is this lesson about? And giving that clear instruction. Listen to the first part and answer the question, and this is the question. We can do that orally, but we can also have that on paper, right? So a lot of us would be doing that. Using visuals, which we talked about, so we're activating vocabulary for the activity, introducing that vocabulary. So yeah, what is a schedule, appointment, available, you know, these kinds of words they might come across. Using gestures and drawings, so maybe we're going to draw a calendar on the board, see what your availability is with an example. So that will support meaning. Yes, play the recording in parts. So break it down. 45 seconds is too long. We can break it down. We can repeat it. We can even slow it down. You know, if we're on YouTube, we can have that option of reducing the speed a little bit. And then post activity, really importantly, to check in, you know, see how that went for the class. You know, how was it? Was it too fast? Was this okay? Do you need another listening? So kind of helping everybody on this level with UDL. And then what to try for some students with differences. So there are many things we could try. For Zoe and Amir, First for Amir with ADHD, helping him to stay on task. So again, if we break up the listening, that's going to help, but then also giving him a checklist. So I really like this, and I've used this in my own class to help students stay on task and on track. So 3 simple steps: listen, underline the date and time, and then circle the answer on your paper. And as they're working through, this may help them to stay focused and on task. For Zoe, we're still going to help Zoe to listen. You know, we want her to practice the listening activity, but we could give her a transcript. So beside her, she's got the transcript. That's going to lower her anxiety. She can highlight some things on the transcript. So maybe speaker name, she can do the appointment date and time. And when she gets it right, she can just nod her head. You know, she doesn't always have to participate orally in the class. So these are a few things we could do. The TELSN program has so many scenarios like this. So as we work through, you're seeing a lot of different examples in the classroom. So again, not just the theory, but in practice, and then thinking about how we can adapt for our diverse learners. And how do they feel? So after we do this, you know, we're going to see some body language, maybe some smiles. They feel successful. Maybe they feel proud because they did it. They got this activity. They might also increase their confidence for this time and feeling hopeful, you know, that yes, I can study with this class and included, you know, which again is going to increase their motivation to come back the next day and try again. So we might observe this. We can also check in though. So a post-activity instructor analysis is also very beneficial. So from a bottom-up approach, you know, going directly to those students and asking, you know, Amir, did the checklist help you? And then see, because we might have an idea, maybe it will work and maybe it won't, or maybe it'll work one day and not another day. So we can check in with them. Was the transcript helpful, Zoe? If yes, wonderful. Now we have a strategy to use with these students. And if not, then we can go back to that drawing board and work together to find something that helps. So the TELSN connections here, this is an exact example scenario from the course, and this is in Module 3. And what we do to extend the learning there for the students is that the mini project number 2 is for the participants to design a short ESL activity, including an objective. So this could be for listening, speaking, reading, or writing, an engagement strategy. So again, using some UDL principles. Think of an assessment method that they want, and adaptation for a learner with special needs. So you learn through the scenarios and then you're applying that knowledge in your mini projects. And what they're practicing: differentiation, scaffolding, and then the IEP and multi-tiered system of supports, informed instruction. So a really nice way to get your hands dirty in there, as we say. We have a little bit of time left, and I want to show you the Moodle platform. So I'm going to just quickly talk about the major components of the online learning. So Shirin's already mentioned a few of them. Again, it's a 60-hour course, so it can be part of your professional development, 3 to 8 weeks in length. So it's really up to the learner. If you want to fast track through that, great. If you need more time because you're very busy, that's also okay. And it's hosted on Moodle. Multimedia materials are included in the course. So we have video, visual, podcast, as Shirin mentioned. We have 3 live sessions with facilitators like myself and Shirin, so to help you along, beginning, midway, and end. So, you know, 1 to get you started and really familiar with the course and talk about what you're trying to gain from TELSN, and then midway to check in and discuss, and then to wrap up at the end. There are 6 modules, again, interconnected and increasing in the difficulty. So we start off with a lot of vocabulary and description, and then we get into more of the practical application. And this is one of my favorites. So there are 6 discussion forums included. So this is really where the students are interacting with the facilitators and building that sense of community for inclusive teaching. And there's been some great ideas coming through there and wonderful comments, and we're going back and forth. So I think we're feeling connected, and that we're not the only ones trying to do this really important work. We have 4 mini projects, and as Shirin said, the optional capstone. So that's a new addition, which is wonderful. Are you ready to look inside Moodle? I know we want to get there. So I'm going to just navigate there right now. I'll take you into our Moodle page so that we can extend. Let's extend our session. So we have a little bit of time. So if you've never used Moodle, has anybody never been on Moodle before? Hands up. Okay, a few people. Yes, Moodle, in this Moodle, it's very, very easy to navigate. So I was going to say, whether you have very high digital literacy skills or very low, this is okay. You know, I think when I show you, you can follow along. So when we get into the course, on the left, we have our navigation bar here. So you can see very easily the different sections that you're going to be learning in. So we've got our modules here with all of the parts. Down at the bottom, we have the capstone. So this is our new edition. There's also a survey. So at the end, we like to ask the students, you know, how did you find the course? Is there anything we can do to improve? And also for us as instructors, facilitators, to give feedback about that student, you know, and that goes on their file. The orientation, you know, for a new learner who's going asynchronous, you really want to be set up well to be successful. And what I like about the orientation, we always have a little introduction. So what is this section about? A video to watch to also, you know, give you some more information. We have an introduction section. So this is where we learn about each other and we start building that community in the forum. And I like this part myself. You know, I went through the course as a facilitator, and even having these documents to support as you get started are very helpful. So if you've never been on Moodle, how do you submit your assignment? You know, sometimes with our students, we have this issue. If there's no document, how do they know how to do that? How to study in this program. We have a handbook to teach you how to be successful here. We really want you to be successful and get the most out of it. So this is setting everybody up very well. We also have our academic integrity policy, which includes things about using AI and things like ChatGPT. So everybody's clear, you know, as we get started. And your facilitator goes over those things with you before you even begin. So we have a really good start. And also we're available, you know, if you're having an issue, you can always reach out through email and connect with us. We also have this wonderful online library, and I have taken full advantage of this and downloaded all of these documents, these materials. So the ones that Shirin mentioned before are here, plus others. So after you're done the course, if you have more time and interest, you can go in and you can start studying a little bit more, applying more to your own classrooms. We have faculty files as well. Those are for us to share documents and support each other too. In Module 1, so I want to just bring you here for a couple of minutes. Module 1 is really a foundational unit, understanding learners with special needs. So if you've ever wondered, what exactly is, you know, dyslexia or dysgraphia or ADHD? This is where you're going to learn that kind of information. Also things like Canadian legal responsibilities. So as instructors here, what do we need to be doing? And then we have our different sections. The modules are all very similar. So if you look at number 1, it will be modeled the same in number 2, 3, 4, etc. So when we open the lesson module, we get another nice navigation bar, which I like. I like navigating clearly and easily, so we can see, you know, some learning objectives are outlined, and then we can follow along here on the right all the different kinds of things we're going to do. And again, as Shirin was mentioning, we have different methods of instruction. So we've got the reading component, you're reading here online, but we also have video. So we have video about UDL. So video with a reflection question, you know, to start us thinking. So if you like to watch videos to learn, maybe if you're a more auditory learner, then this is good for you as well. They also tell you the time, which I like, you know, how much time will I be spending in this section? You know, that helps people stay motivated and gauge their time well. We also have a summary, which again is really nice, especially when you're learning a lot of new content, like in the first module. So nicely set up, easy to read, some of the key points. And one of my favorites now, which is the podcast. And I don't know about you, but I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts all the time. And when I saw this, I thought, oh, wow, what an innovative way to kind of recap and just remember what we've done in this module. And reading is great. I love reading too. But if I listen to it and I read it, I'm going to retain a lot more. So I really like this feature. There's one for every module. Also included is the glossary. So, again, lots of new vocabulary is going to be coming through some of these particular sections. And helpful websites. So again, to extend your learning, if you're interested, let's say in UDL, this is the website for CAST. So you can go directly there and you can see more information. We also have, I want to just go back for a moment to our module. I have to follow my breadcrumbs here. I like how they call it that. We have a quiz. We have a module quiz. So this is not graded, but it is an opportunity for you to, again, check your comprehension as you're going through the course. So a nice little option there for us learners. And in the resources section, again, you find the glossary, the podcast. We've also got the downloadable PDF of the module. So if you want to print that out, you are welcome to do that. If you want to do read aloud, some people like to listen to all that information, you can do read aloud as well with the PDF. Yeah, which I think is a pretty inclusive practice. So I like that one as well. And the last thing, just to kind of recap, we do have in the lesson, at the very end, there are some job interview prep sheets. So questions that you may encounter in a job interview. So kind of guiding you if you want to get into this field. How would you answer a question about using UDL in your classroom? So those are included as well. And, I know I've given you a very quick overview. If we're thinking about, maybe you like this idea, the course sounds great, but what are other instructors saying? Teachers who have taken the course, how do they feel about it? How did it work for them? So a few of our student testimonials are here. I'm going to read a couple. So this course helped me incredibly in understanding how to accommodate for students in order for them to be successful in their learning of English as an additional language. I also enjoyed having 2 to 3 video chats with my instructor in order to discuss what was going well and what I need clarification with. I always felt extremely supported by the instructor. Such a great program for every level of learner. And just one more I want to highlight. Maybe I'll just recap this myself, but this student actually shared about how she used the scenarios and the feedback we gave to help a 15-year-old student in her class with ADHD. And I think, seeing that positive effect in your real time, in your real classroom, it really makes us all want to have more opportunities like this. And through the course, people are able to do that. So really good feedback coming from the learners who have joined. And I know we're out of time, and Shirin is going to do just a quick chat about community.
Thank you. Promise very quick.
Very quick.
So when we were developing the course and through the 1 year of running it, well, we had in mind how we can contribute to our professional community, because behind all of these instructional design, at heart, all of us are teachers. Everyone behind the course has been a teacher for a long time. So we wanted to help our collective growth as a community of teachers. So we thought of 3 ways in which we could collaborate with each other. First, I know there are many teachers here who would wish to join our faculty. So we do have a pathway for them. If they finish the TELSN and then go through mentorship program, they can be teaching assistants and one day teachers at Score Guides. We also have a lot of people who are interested in instructional design. A lot of people have very ingenious ideas about how to improve this course or even to develop other courses. So we would very much love to collaborate with them. You can just simply find us. We have a booth here, and you can contact us through the website. We would love to continue that dialogue. And finally, we thought, okay, we meet each other every year here, but then we say goodbye, and then we don't hear from each other anymore. So we started a page on LinkedIn, and we called it Inclusive EAL Network because we want all teachers who are concerned about inclusive education, especially for for English context, to start a dialogue with each other. Now, so if you scan this code, it takes you to the LinkedIn page, and that's just a free forum for everybody to share their interesting ideas, and so we can grow and learn together. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's scan that.
Mhm.
Also, if you want, you can just search the name Inclusive EAL Network on LinkedIn, and you will find it, and you can join. We would love to hear from you, and I'm sure a lot of people have very interesting and wonderful ideas and experiences to share in this regard. And well, that's it. Now, we don't go far away. We're outside. We have our Score Guides exhibitor booth. Please come talk to us if you want any more information, if you want to join us, if you have ideas for instructional design or creating new courses. And that's it. So is there any questions? No? Well then, thank you. Oh, yes, please.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, when you say PD, so is there like a cost, maybe I missed it, is there a cost associated with the course, or?
Yes, there is a cost associated with the course, but we do have flyers to explain everything at the booth.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are many different scholarships available and many other ways to reduce costs for teachers. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, if there's no other questions, then thank you so very much for your participation and for your time. Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
please.
it's okay.
No?
We can talk after.
Okay,
Sure.
sure. Okay, I'll be at your service. Thank you so much for your attention and
Thank
participation. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of it.
Thank you. Thank you. We did it. I got a little long there.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Oh.